Hey, Lucas, what's up, man?
What's going on, Gianni? How are
How you
you?
doing? I realize these headphones don't work right now. Never mind. Everything good by you?
Everything going well, thank you.
Yeah. What have you been up to during this time?
I'm sorry, say again?
Oh, what are those headphones working?
Yeah, it's working. Just let me put the volume a little bit higher here. Okay, can you ask again, please?
Yeah. So what have you been up to during this time with gym clothes and everything like that?
Man, I have been doing my strength conditioning. I have like a gym in the garage and just like teach some classes online as well
Yeah.
to the students and also like actually before like on the beginning of the quarantine I just like video a bunch of techniques to the online training program.
Did you do that kind of like knowing that this was going to happen and that you were going to have to close, or was that just a coincidence that you started filming techniques?
Actually like before like we closed the academy and then we were allowed to go to the academy.
Hmm.
So and then I was there filming, but as soon as they say that we cannot be, inside anymore, and then I stopped to go and just and then I just like film few techniques from home as well.
Yeah, you
You
have a
know?
nice setup at your home to like do your strength conditioning and also be able to film techniques as well.
Yeah, yeah, I do everything here now.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like I've asked a lot of people this, like, what has been kind of the adjustment? What are some things that you've been able to do during this time that maybe you wouldn't be able to do when you're fully running your school and training? Because obviously there's a lot of spare time that we have. I've tried to fill the gap with different things. What are some different things that you've been kind of working on during this time?
Yes, actually now like I have like a project to my online training program that I'm putting on the paper. And as soon as we're able to come back to the academy, I'm going to start video.
Hmm.
And that's going to be one thing. Another thing is going to be the program to my school as well. So I'm adjusting the program that I already have it, but I'm going to like change few things, few details, few techniques that I think is going to be really important to keep the students involved. I
Hmm.
think it's like once a while it's really important to start change the program a little bit.
Yeah. So this has been like a good opportunity for you to kind of find changes and kind of
Yeah,
improve upon that.
exactly. It's like, I have been traveling a lot for seminars, and last year was crazy. I was teaching like 84 seminars. So, it was like very busy year,
Yeah.
besides like training for a world championship and, like was very busy year. And this year was very busy also, January and February. And then I was like, I have like a bunch of seminars to teach, but I have to postpone everything.
Hmm.
And so now is that they have the time to start, like, see this project that I have in mind, but I didn't have time to put in practice.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I can imagine this is like
Oh,
a.
the guy's here. Fight, Gordo.
I'll ask you about that. It's funny.
Uh,
I mean, even just asking about that, you don't ever seem like someone that gets involved in kind of like the trend.
yeah.
You're very
Eh,
level-headed.
yeah,
What kind
yeah.
of happened
So
there?
actually, like, man, all my career, I never like, like I always respect everyone, my
Hmm.
opponents, But it's something that, the guy, God started to insult me online, like crazy thing that I never spoke to the guy, and then he started like, and then I noticed that is his full-time job, He
Yeah.
started, he started to insult people on the internet, and it's something that first like I would like fight him easily, that's not the problem, even though he's 45 pounds more than me, whatever, takes a lot of
Yeah.
steroids, and that's not the problem. I think the problem is when they start how can I say, create fake accounts and start insult you, start insult your family, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's gonna be very like, I don't wanna like, that's like, I lost the interest, because
Mhm.
when these things start to involve family, start to involve like fake accounts and start to insult everybody, that's is, I don't wanna see my image, involved with all this trash talk because I don't, it's not like the way that I work.
Yeah. I can imagine like after a while it's different. You won't even want to be involved in that. There's like, okay, if you
No,
want to fight, fight,
yeah, Zach,
but once it
I
goes
don't.
beyond that, yeah.
Yeah, it's better like you ignore it and that's it. If they wanna pay and then we're gonna fight, and that's fine. But if they don't wanna pay what I need that I deserve, that's fine as well. Their problem. So,
Yeah.
but leave me alone. If work out, awesome. If it doesn't work out, that's it.
Well, I kind of noticed this, and I think it's an issue where, I mean, honestly, I've met Gordon, and he's honestly, to me, I've found him to be all right. But I think a lot of his internet stuff is very it's fake. He does it for show. But then the problem is that his followers take it seriously, and then they start talking shit, but they mean it for real. So
Yeah, no, I
it
think
creates it just starts creating hate and just kind of creating this bad talk that maybe he isn't genuine about it. He's not real, but other people start trying to act like him, so it just
uh,
develops this bad vibe.
is a bad vibe and other things, a lot of fake accounts. I
Yeah.
was, man, it's like a lot of fake accounts, but like I prefer to don't be involved. Like my
Yeah.
vibe is another vibe. I think we have to act differently and give another like good example to everyone. I think it's like for me, this trash talk doesn't work at all.
Yeah. I remember for whatever reason, AJ had like a bit with me. He wanted to talk shit. And it's funny, my parents get upset about it. When they see him say something bad about me, they get mad. But I'm like, I'm just not going to say anything because it never goes, I don't know. I just never felt like it went anywhere good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would love to see that. But if it gets too crazy with that, then it's not worth it
Yeah,
either.
it's just like, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess this time isn't so bad for you. You can spend time with your baby and everything like that. I'm sure it's helping your wife as well, right?
Yeah, man, it's amazing time that I have, with my daughter and my wife as well, because, as I said, I have been traveling a lot for seminars, and last year I was crazy busy, and beginning of the year as well was like I was traveling every weekend, and then also like, the first week of January I was traveling, and then after that every weekend I was traveling, January and February as well. And now, like, have this time together is amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I have been with my daughter every single time,
Hmm.
like every day she's doing something new, like, man, it's amazing how I can follow her progress.
Yeah, yeah. That's gotta be great to see. How old is she now?
She's 1 year and 6 months.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of new stuff is happening about now.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
it's pretty
awesome.
awesome.
Man, how are you able to balance all that travel while still obviously you're not competing every weekend as well, but how do
Yeah.
you balance being able to maintain a good level to always be ready for like the big tournaments like I remember at Europeans last year and then Worlds later on in ADCC. What is kind of like your I don't know, just tell me how you're able to kind of make that routine work.
Yes, like, actually, I don't like to change my routine much.
Hmm.
I keep my routine the same way. So I just, of course, 2 weeks before tournament, I avoid to travel,
Yeah.
but like, other than that, I do the same thing, traveling, training, like I don't change much my routine. I follow the same schedule. I don't know
Yeah.
like how I do, but I like to be busy. I like to keep workout, keep training, keep traveling. I fly in, fly out for a seminar and just get, for example, sometimes I travel on Friday and come back, Sunday night. Sometimes I come back Monday morning, and then I go straight to the academy, train, and keep going, you know?
So you're just someone that just prefers to be busy. You would rather
Yeah,
have a full schedule
yeah,
of taking care of business, training, teaching your seminars, teaching, and that's it.
exactly. I like that. I like to be busy.
Nice. So what was your schedule looking like for this year? Were you? Oh, I don't know if he's still there. Oh, uh-oh. He's
No, he's back.
you still there?
I can, yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, you're back. You're a little blurry, but I'm sure it'll clear up. Give it a second. All right, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, was your competition schedule kind of looking like before all this happened? Did you still intend on competing at Worlds and competing a few other things, or what do you think kind of was your goal for the year?
And for this year, I was looking for like to compete the awards. That I was like almost 100%, sure that I would like uh do the awards again. But for tournament was just the awards that I was looking for this year,
Yeah.
2020. Yeah.
Do you ever feel like that was kind of difficult to just compete once a year? I mean, for me, I always felt like I needed to maintain like a consistent competition schedule just to kind of feel like in rhythm. But you seem to have that down pretty good.
Yeah,
Was that
so
like ever a challenge for you?
like like I got used to, so like I used to compete a lot. I used to compete a lot. I used to compete all the opens, and then I think the last year that I was competing every single tournament was in 2014. That I compete like maybe
Okay.
once a month until the awards. But after
Yeah.
that, just like twice a year, 3 times a year. So I think it's really, really hard when you start like get a bunch of things on your life,
Hmm.
academy, association, seminars, and this and that, and it's really hard to combine everything.
Yeah. So I mean, you just kind of
And
got to be
now
able to balance.
family,
Yeah.
yeah, now family. So like it's really hard you have to focus, otherwise you cannot perform so well as well. You're
Yeah.
gonna like if you start fighting a bunch of things, it's too much. Put on your resume,
Hmm.
like how I'm gonna say that I'm gonna, win the opens. Like it's not like, really it's important to adjust few techniques, to adjust your game. I think like these small tournaments is really important for you to get more confidence, or like what do you like which like what do you want to work, like if you work on new techniques, it's good for you to go and try and see if it's work or not. But like end of the day, what's gonna really matter is gonna be the big tournaments, Pan Am's, Worlds, of course, the Worlds the biggest one, but I think it's like, our main goal, all the athletes' goals is one day go and win the world championship.
Of course. So what would you say to people that are compete? You're very blurry right now, so if I can't really see you too. Okay, you're looking a little better now. Um, so what would you like give advice to people that compete often when they're going to like these smaller tournaments? Are you someone that would recommend using those as like a time to try to work different things? No.
Yes, I think
Or
like if you compete the small tournaments, I always, try to advise those guys to go and compete the FJGF tournaments, not like Naga or New Breed. Of course, this tournament, if you don't have options, you go and and fight, but Uh, I think the small tournament is gonna give you a chance to work on your techniques. To start prepare yourself to go to the bigger tournaments. To get more confidence as well. Um, I think it's good for this reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I always felt that. I always felt like they were important to kind of be able to use different things. Man, I think, can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I can't really see you. I don't know if your service is working super well. Sorry.
Yeah, I can see you well.
Can you see yourself? I can't
Yes,
see.
I can. I can see me. I can see you as well.
Hmm. Oh well, we'll keep going then. Um, so when did you say that like was kind of like the time where you transitioned to just kind of competing just worlds or just pans or just ADCC? That was like 2014, right? And that's around the time that you opened your gym, correct?
Yes, I opened my academy end of 2014. That's also one of the reasons that I start competing every single tournament. So in 2015, I fought three tournaments. I fought the World Pro that I won, Worlds and ADCC.
Okay.
Basically like after that, like 2016, I fought the Worlds. Yeah, so basically like maybe two tournaments a year, two,
Mm-hmm.
three, you know, sometimes one, but basically like I try to fight Worlds every year, and so what else? And the ADCC as well. Yeah, World Nogi, I stopped fighting 2011. I won like 2009, 10, and 11, but and then after that, I stopped competing as well.
Are there like some tournaments that you win where you're like, all right, I won it already. I've had enough of that.
Yeah, so basically, like, I like to train like no, Nogi, I train like once a year, a week, but
Uh-huh.
Gi, I train like every day. And Nogi is a little bit more challenge for me because like yeah, I cannot train no gi every day, but I can train gi every day.
Yeah.
Even though like I'm competing ADCC, like or like even though no gi words before when I used to compete, both games for me help.
Yeah.
But it's one thing that I let's say that I can say I love gi and I like no gi, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
I think it's something that even though that nogi is not my favorite, but I like to challenge myself. I don't like to stay on my comfort zone.
Yeah. No, of course. And I can imagine like you want to have different goals as well. Like you have, all the world titles and stuff like that. So finding like different challenges along the way must be important. And also,
Yeah,
so that comes in Nogi. So it's kind of something that I don't think I love it either, but it's something that is just kind of there and you kind of have to do it.
yeah, no, it's a challenge. It's really challenging me, motivating me as well. Uh,
Hmm.
I think it's really important to be complete. Like I see like some guys, like I just do nogi, I just do gi, like I think I think you have to be complete. I think it's gonna, even though like it's more challenge. I feel that.
Yeah. Do you see yourself doing ADCC next time, 2021?
I'm gonna decide next year. Let's see. Let's see. Or
Yeah.
I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see when if the invitation is coming and then what I'm gonna do it.
Here. So you're cutting out just a little bit. Um, you maybe move the camera a little bit because I can't really see it too well. Like it's really blurry. Sorry, man.
It's closer. It's better.
Maybe I don't know. It might be the service.
I can see
Let's see if
myself
maybe
very
that
well,
works.
and then also I can see you very well.
Man, I don't know. It must be on my side then. Lucas. Someone said Lucas is looking blurry. I don't know.
Serious, man. For me over here, I can see
But you
very
can still
well.
hear me all right?
I can hear you very well. Okay, let
Yeah,
me.
someone said try turning off your Wi-Fi maybe. See if that
Okay, let's see now.
it's starting to look better.
Okay, better?
Yeah, it's looking better. It's looking better.
Okay, all right, perfect.
All right. No, so I was actually curious because like oh,
Okay,
so you
all
said you
right.
opened your school like end of 2014, right? And right around that time, like
2014.
yeah. And I noticed that you kind of had like a change there where you won Worlds 2007, and then there was that time gap where you were winning a lot, but just not the Worlds. I was always curious, how were you able to balance, having a school and competing at the same time, and also competing at a high level as well? It almost seemed like to me, maybe I'm wrong because I'm looking from the outside, but there was almost an improvement once you opened the school. Whereas for a lot of people, it becomes difficult to be able to balance competing and teaching full time as well. Was there anything like when you first opened a school that almost helped you or it helped you enhance your game in any way, or was it just, you know, coincidence, or what do you think it was that kind of made that shift for you?
Actually, like the mentality, the mindset that I had in 2014 already,
Mm-hmm.
helped me a lot. Of course, like open my own school was something that started pushing me and motivating me as well. And start, like put my students better and better to give me a good training. Uh, like for sure, like everything was combined, but 2014, I already thought the words a little bit differently. Like I was like my mindset was very strong.
Mm-hmm.
The way that I was thinking, like I was very confident, like I was, and then that the way that I changed my mindset for me was really important.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kept going, like with this mindset every year. And the way that I like to train, I didn't change much. That was the same way. So was more like the mindset,
Yeah.
believe a little bit more, like, and also like, so that goal that I had to break records on my division, that was one thing that was pushing me forward as well.
Yeah.
So I think was everything combined.
Yeah. So the work ethic didn't change, the training routine didn't change, but it was just
Didn't
kind of
change.
a shift in the mindset that made the difference.
Yeah,
You
I
feel?
think so. I think was the mindset.
Did you ever feel like I'm just going from my own experience? I went through this where like I felt like a lot of the times when I would have a tough time competing, I was looking at my opponents a lot. I was seeing what they were doing. I was respecting their game maybe too much. Where when things would be clicking well, it was mostly just me focusing on myself, focusing on my game, not really strategizing for anybody else. Was there any aspect like that where you kind of maybe we're looking too much at opponents, but then after a while, it's like, oh, I'm just going to focus on myself and do my thing instead. Or was,
Yeah, so actually, like I never was the guy that studied my opponent. No, I never did this. Right. I'm not like the guy that watching videos from my opponents. I like to watch my videos and see what I need to improve. So, I think the mindset that changed was like believing what I was doing. A lot of times I was doing some techniques that I didn't believe much. I was
mm-hmm,
doing at the academy, was fine, but and then get to the tournament, I was a little bit uncomfortable. I don't know, like was a little bit like I I was thinking on that, the time that I was fighting, I was thinking, okay, I don't know if this technique is gonna work well or not, and then I was hesitating to put in practice, and then the timing passed.
mm-hmm,
So there is time to apply the technique. If you don't apply on that timing, especially on the high level, you're gonna miss the time, and that's it. You know, maybe you're gonna lose the fight for because of that detail, right?
Hmm.
So, and then when I stopped to hesitate much and just go and do whatever I was training, everything started, flow a little bit better.
What do you think was kind of the shift in that? What kind of made that difference there? Was there something that you had to actively do to make that better, or was it just something with just time that you just started feeling more comfortable with yourself?
It's just timing. It's just time. I say, okay, I'm not lose anymore by advantage. I'm not lose more. I just grow, and
Hmm.
was something else. It's really hard to explain it
I
because
understand.
like it's just I don't know how to explain that because it was like was something that happened natural,
Yeah.
but uh but I was believing more. I was okay, so I trained for it, like I was just a lot of uh I was talk to myself all the time, when I'm competing I talk to myself all the time.
Okay.
Like sometimes I'm on my own coach. I have no coach. I have Mario Hayes on my corner, like coach me.
Hmm.
That he helps me a lot because who is outside can see better. And then
Yeah.
the way that Mario say to me, I just like I can hear very well and then do it whatever that he's saying. But also a lot of times during the fight, I talk to myself as well. So go Lucas, don't stop. That's the time that you cannot stop and start,
Yeah.
talk to myself and don't let me stop. I think that's really important. Even though I'm tired, like all situations that I see myself, I just keep pushing myself.
Yeah. So you have to almost give yourself some positive motivation to kind of keep you pushing as well.
Exactly.
Eh,
Exactly. Especially like when you have like few points behind, and you have to catch up and you have to see yourself like a lot of situations. You're gonna see yourself a lot of situations that you need that extra push.
Yeah.
If your mindset start to work backwards, you start get that negative thoughts, and then you're always gonna be behind.
I've always noticed that as well. If I allow doubts to creep in my head too much during a match, it's almost never turns out good. And I've even had matches where I was like maybe behind, maybe I wasn't fighting super well at the time, but if I gave myself a good like just little talk or I just stayed positive, I'd eventually find my opening, my opportunity, and I would just kind of keep pushing the pace. I was also curious now that you mentioned him, like what makes I don't speak Portuguese, so I don't know exactly what he's saying. But what is I always notice Mario is one of the guys that is coaching a lot of the people. A lot of people are drawn to him being a coach. What qualities really make him a strong coach that you want to go to?
And I think like first, like we have been doing the camps together before I opened the
Okay.
academy. Like we did the camp until 2014. So like from 2011 until 2014, we did the Words Camp together at
Hmm.
Cobrinhas. So, and I think he started like help me on this mindset as well.
Yeah.
He started like talk to me that I need to believe it because like man, I was ready. I think a bunch of this positive conversation, start building my confidence. So and the way that he coaches as well, like he just say, like for example, some techniques that I hesitate. He say, man, keep going, you're gonna get there. You're almost there. Go, like he just talked direct to the point that you needed.
Hmm.
That's like, I think it's really important to have the coach like that on your side.
Would you say that sometimes it's almost more important to have someone that kind of just motivates you or kind of believes in you and pushes you rather than was technically wise, you know what you have to do. You
Yeah.
understand your game well. It's not really like the technical feedback that you need from someone, but a lot of times it's really just that kind of like outside push, that
Exactly.
outside positive feedback, and that's what he
Exactly.
mainly provides. Yeah.
Exactly. So I also like he's really good to read my opponent's game, you know. If
Okay.
he says, okay, he's gonna block you, uh, so for example, if I need to break one grip, he say, okay, break that grip, that's gonna help you to move around. And then I
Mhm.
go over there and break that grip, you know. He's really good to read it, the fight and tell me what I need to do to move on,
Yeah.
you
That's got to
know.
give you like a good not a good motivation, but like a good like positive feel. Like it's good to know what you're doing and that you're in control, but also to have kind of like a backup, like him to
Exactly.
be able to kind of like see the things that maybe you're not seeing at that moment as well.
Yeah, because like you know, is the coach is not the guy that keep screaming all the time, but then does not
Hmm.
say anything to you. Just you know, go go go. That's not you know. I think is have to be you know telling you like exactly what you need on that exactly moment. That's gonna make a difference.
Yeah.
I think you know. I think less than say is better. Yeah, but say something that's gonna you know make a difference. I think
Hmm.
is and Mario does
Well,
this really well.
yeah. Well, I want to. I thought you would like this, but my favorite coach from Marcelo's was actually you know him, Adam Benayoun. He always coaches me whenever we compete, and that's so I always appreciate his coaching. He's very obviously he's well spoken, but he also knows the opponents well. He knows me well enough, but it's never anything super complicated that he'll say. But it's
Yeah,
just the right amount of like positive, you know, not super loud, but kind of keeps a
yeah.
calm tone. I always feel like that's important. If you're someone that gets kind of anxious when you're coaching, you almost make your competitor anxious too.
You
You
know, like
know.
you know, Adam, that he was my student from white belt to purple belt, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know what you did, but somehow you made him into a good coach because I
Yeah,
remember
no, the kid is awesome, man. He was here like, he was training with us, when he was here.
right before Pans, I believe. I was just talking to him about that.
Yes, yes, was March, beginning of March, I think, end of February. Was really nice to train with him and see him here.
Yeah, yeah, he's a cool guy. He's awesome. But yeah. So if you gave him any tips on coaching, then I thank you for that because
Yeah.
it's definitely paid off for me. So I saw someone like asking before here, and I guess I would like to know as well. Like, you know, going to Worlds every year, you're doing the same thing. Sometimes you're competing against a lot of the same guys, because at the end of the day, lightweight is a stacked division, but a lot of times, you know, the top guys always end up kind of at the top. You know, same 8, 10, 12 guys, most of the time at least. Maybe I'm wrong, but what kind of keeps the motivation for you for that? For me, I felt like I had a little difficult time sometimes, even going to same tournaments again if I had won even once or twice. But for you, it's been 5, 6 times. What's the constant motivation behind that?
Man, so you know, like motivation to compete the awards is something that, for example, first was break records on the division. So, and then in 2017, I broke the records. That was my main goal on my career, you know, competing words, right? And and then like every year was looking for to break this record. That was my motivated. I always giving my best to fight the best and keep winning until I conquer this goal.
Mm-hmm.
So and then in 2000 and then after that I start like looking every year I start looking for new motivations, you know, new goals. And then 2018 was my wife was pregnant and then I start focus a lot of, you know, on my family as well. You
Mm-hmm.
know, besides, you know, my business is gonna help me, you know, like to on my academy as well, my association, you know, start help to building something, you know, to be in the history, you know, like it's really important because it's gonna help yourself to do other things as well.
Yeah.
But and then in 2018, I start like my wife was pregnant. It was really hard for me to train because every time that, not every time, but sometimes I was training, and then my wife called the academy, and then she was feeling sick, and then I have to come back home.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't able to finish my training. I stopped the training and come back home to take care of her. So that start, like, at the same time was very frustrating that I wasn't able to train much, but that was giving you even more strength to come back on the next day and do better on my
Hmm.
training. That was pushing me a lot. So, and then I was able to win my fifth world title in 2018. And last year was like, and then I thought, okay, how, what's gonna motivate me, to fight the worlds again?
Yeah.
And then I focus on my daughter. I say, man, that would be really nice to have my daughter on my arms, on the podium. And that's gonna be, man, look at the picture like 15, 20 years from now, and look that picture like how cool it's gonna be, you know.
Yeah.
And then that I was training and just visualize me and her, like on top of the podium. Was pretty awesome, man. It's pretty awesome to be able to conquer that again and be able to win my sixth world title. I never focus in any opponent. I never like, okay, I wanna focus on this guy. I never was, I never training for some tournament. Just, just visualize just one opponent. Because lightweight division, there is so many good guys, so I
Hmm.
cannot just focus just one guy,
Yeah.
right? So that's why just I focus another thing. My motivation come from other things, not my opponents, right? So
Yeah.
that's like, actually I forget about my opponents, who I want to face, and then just focus on other things.
Yeah. I've always felt like it's important to also focus on things that you can control. You can't control how your opponents are training. You
Is
can't control on what they do. So at the end of the day, the best way to prepare for anything is to probably just focus on what you do best and enforcing your game more than anything. If you focus too much on what they do, then you kind of almost you're almost giving them conceding too much respect to them at that point.
exactly.
So I can imagine that's important. But that's cool how you've been able to kind of consistently go with like different goals in mind. Thinking about wanting to break the record first, and then thinking about just trying to have your daughter on the podium with you. That's cool motivator. Was there ever Do you ever go through a period where it's not when you compete, it's not so much about the result that you would be thinking about, but also wanting to just, put in strong performances. Like, do you ever feel like sometimes you become more performance driven rather than results driven? Meaning, like, okay, I've won this title, so now I want to win by, passing and submitting everybody or, a certain technical goal. Was that ever something as well?
No, I think it's like before 2014, I was thinking too much about the result, too much. I want, like, okay, I want to win. That was blocking me a little bit. So that was one of the problems that I had before, I start, and then after that I start like, I want to like show more my jiu-jitsu, and when I start thinking this way, I start get better results.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and when like my mindset, I think that the way I too confident that no other way I'm gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
No other way. Like when I go to the words, I losing is not an option, you know.
Yeah.
So that's like my mindset when I go to the words.
You just simply don't like accept that feeling, or do
Yeah,
you? So it's hard for someone to stay so like in that mindset. There could be always doubts that creep in, but you're just you would you say that you're always very good at being able to just kind of you know have the doubts come in, but then just kind of letting them go and just
Exactly. Yeah.
continuing to fill your mind with like positive reinforcement instead.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see myself like. Yeah. So as I said, lose is not an option. I like on my mind. I'm already gonna win.
Hmm. And you said that basically started 2014, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, so like I feel like when I would watch you, or when you first won Worlds in like 2007, I feel like you played like a very well-rounded game. It's always been well-rounded, but at what point was passing such a big thing for you? Because for me, at least from what I watch, passing has always been the thing that people have like admired about your game most. Was there a certain period of time where you felt like you really started getting a hang of it, rather than obviously going from being a good card passer to like a great one? What was kind of like that breakthrough, or what kind of made the difference in really sharpening that area of your game?
And I think like when I start notice like the way that my game is, I start using the precise. Like to describe my game and especially my passing about like precision. Like and then
Mm-hmm.
that's why when I start figure out that, and then that's why like I say, man, to be perfect is something really hard to do it, but you can be precise. Like get like uh that precision in your game that when you see the opportunity just go for, right? You be like you're gonna go around it and then be precise on that moment and back take and then you do whatever like whatever you see on that moment. Like passing, I always work in the passing. Oh, like until my purple belt, I was just passing, and then I was playing guard at the academy, but I wasn't very comfortable playing guard at the tournament. And then when I was brown belt, I started pulling guard a lot, just pulling guard. I started more confidence because I knew that on the black belt, I need to be more around it. So and then, for example, at the words 2000, some words I just pull guard. For example, I'm going to give an example. 2016, I pull guard all my fights. You know, so and then of course after I swap the guy and then I start passing back take. But all my 5 fights that I had in 2016, I pull guard all my fights.
Okay.
So and then like 2016 was one of my best performances as well. Like pulling guard and I was able to pull guard, sweeping, submitting 4 fights of 5. I didn't have any points or advantage score on me. Like was really good. Like I was really happy to see that. So it was really really like yeah. So but and then I start like I'm very comfortable on these days pulling guard or passing or takedowns. Like I do whatever I needed to in the fight.
Yeah, I mean, I've always noticed you've been well-rounded, but it's just from me looking on the outside, I always noticed that after a while, people wouldn't want to pull guard on you. That's very rare for like lightweight and below, because usually everyone, a, majority of the people are more like guard players nowadays. But
Yeah,
I would notice like men developed his passing good enough so that people don't want to pull guard anymore. At least that's what I
yeah.
noticed for a while. That's what always impressed me whenever I would watch a lot of your matches. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, go ahead, Sorry.
No, I try to train everything, I try to create all situations that I feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so I think that's important to feel comfortable everywhere that you know how to deal with the game. I think it's really important.
That just has to give like another way of having like a good sense of confidence when you can go into a tournament or into a match and feel like no matter which position I end up in, I'm going to be comfortable. You know, I can imagine that it could be intimidating or kind of scary when you go into a match or a situation where maybe you're in a spot that maybe you don't normally like to be in or you're not comfortable with, but being well-rounded kind of gives that extra layer of confidence that, all right, top, bottom, stand up, the guy pulls guard, whatever, I can be ready for it no matter what.
Yeah, no, is really important to be ready, for everything, for all the challenge. I think is if your opponent pull guard is awesome. Is if the guy doesn't pull guard, awesome as well. I remember like words, is 2016, I think. I was competing against JT and he didn't pull guard, and then and then we start exchange takedowns, and then was really tight fight, and then the referee started giving us penalties,
Yeah.
and then was like 2 points, two advantage, and I remember like one more, we're gonna get disqualified,
Yeah.
and then Mario Hayes said, Lucas, pull guard because he's not gonna pull guard on you, and then I have to pull guard and deal, like so, and then on the end, I think I got advantage applying like try to sweep him, very on the end, like few seconds left, I was putting him down, and then he fall and come back up, and
Yeah.
then I got the advantage, but it's something that but man, the one thing that I thought was, man, I will not get disqualified at the word.
Yeah. No, you
You
can't let that
can
happen.
no,
No.
you cannot that happen, like I think is you have to do everything to don't let this happen. Or even though like myself and him was exchange, I was trying to attack him, he was trying to attack me. Wasn't that like, nobody was trying anything, was like
Yeah.
very active,
You guys were
uh,
just canceling each other out.
exactly. Even
Yeah.
though the referee like wants to see the fight on the floor and whatever. So and then on the end I have to pull guard, and then I pull guard.
Yeah. You have to be able to make adjustments,
Yeah, I
obviously.
think
But
I think someone have to have the action to do something that you don't be disqualified, especially the words. Imagine, man, you're gonna be disqualified at the words that you have been training for months and months, and
no, no, you
yeah,
can't
you
let that
can,
happen.
yeah.
Was there like one you said 2016 you pull guard in each match and you didn't give up any points or advantages. Was there one like maybe that year? Which year was the most like satisfying or one that you're maybe most proud of, would you say?
So 2007, my first one was very important for me. 2007, I did a great performance as well. I submit 4 fights of 5 as well.
Hmm.
But that one, I had more points to score, so the guy scored points on me. That one wasn't like too perfect, but was really important on my career. That's when start opens a lot of door for me. As I start going to Japan, do super fights, start get more sponsorships, and start traveling more, around the world.
Yeah.
That one for sure helped me to expose myself a little bit more.
So that one was, but was that your
But
most satisfying one? Like the, the one that you're like most proud of, would you say still is the first one?
man, every single tournament, like every single words was different feeling.
Yeah.
Because, for example, in 2014, when I won my second one, for example, 2007 was my first one that I was like super excited, man. It was my first one, like all the hard work was paying off, and was my first year as a black belt as well. I had just like 7 months, of black belt, and was very young, 22 years old. And then it was very, very nice, to accomplish that very quickly.
Yeah.
But and then, but then I like 7 years from 2007 until 2014, I didn't win. I was just taking second place, take third place, always on the podium, but I wasn't able to win again. So in 2014, I have that very special feeling, was able to win my second world title again after so many years, like just taking seconds and third. And then that feeling that, okay, I was able to win again was really good feeling about that. I didn't give up. I just keep, pursue, and that yeah, so that feeling was amazing as well.
Yeah.
because a lot of guys they stop training. They not they stop training, but they stop to compete a lot of times, you know.
Hmm.
They say, no, I already have one world championship, let me stop over here,
Yeah.
right? So, but that wasn't my case, you know. My goal was breaking records. Even though I start getting older, you know, I said, man, I know that I'm able to win again. I won one time, so let me keep going
Yeah.
until I accomplish, you know. So, and then that was a really good feeling. And then in 2015, I closed out with Michael, you know, one of my teammates.
Hmm.
So it was, you know, was really good performance as well. And in 2016, I think by far was my best performance, you know. So it was really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So like all of them are different in their own
Yeah,
ways.
so and then
Yeah.
2017 was my fourth one that I was able to break records. It was another feeling.
Hmm.
And 2018 was another feeling that my wife was pregnant. 2019 was very emotional as well, be with my daughter. So every single one was a different phase of my life, you know.
Yeah.
So it was a different feeling.
Yeah. Man, the only way that they can stop you from winning worlds is just to have a pandemic.
Yeah.
It's the only way. We're like, man, we can't have Lucas win again this year. We're gonna just shut the whole world down instead.
Shut. Oh my
No,
gosh,
but
man.
that's
Maybe,
awesome.
yeah, that's his no challenge always move me forward. So let's see, like for sure. I think we don't have words this year.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think so, but let's see what's going on next year. What's going to be my motivation?
Yeah. So I mean, you always seem to find a different motivation. How how much is it also kind of like motivating, wanting to motivate your students as well? I always hear that from some people, from some coaches as well, that they like to be able to compete to also kind of use it as like a tool to help push their students as well. Is that something kind of in mind as well?
Yes, I try to be like an example to them, you know, not just as a professor, they see every day the way that I treat my students, the way that I run the classes, you know, the way that you know, like I'm very detailed, you know, like I try to correct every single student, you know, like I'm very picky, and then I try to make sure that all the students are learning well.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that I train, you know, like the way that I like to train, uh, I try to show them the example. So guys, I always say, guys, you have to train like I train or even more, right, to
Yeah.
accomplish your goals. So do not think that you guys gonna train a little bit and then you're gonna go there and do well, you know. So and then you know, like I always try to show them the example.
Nice. And do you feel like maybe also with teaching, you talk about like I always see the hashtag be precise. Do you think it was easier for you to kind of see how your own techniques work the more you teach it to your students as well? I don't teach all the time. You know, I just teach seminars. Obviously, I don't have a school or anything. But I noticed the more I'd be teaching, freelancing, doing work like that, the more I would almost understand why I do certain techniques. Do you think maybe that was something that helped you as well? Because like I said, it just a coincidence that as soon as you open your school, you won worlds every year.
Yeah, so I used to teach since I was brown belt. I used to teach in Brazil. When I was brown belt, I started teach full time already. I was studying as well. I was studying business, and then I was like conciliate, you know, the study and my training and my teaching as well. So I never been like just athlete, you
Okay.
know.
So you've
So
always had a routine of
I
teaching,
always
yeah.
have the routine of teaching because when I moved to from Brazil to New York in 2008, I also like moved to New York to start teaching as well. So since my 19 years old, I teach full time, you know.
Hmm.
So when I moved, like when I was 23, I moved to New York City for teaching as well, and then I was teaching full time as well. So I never been just full time athlete, you know. So I'm got like used to, you know,
Yeah.
teach and train and that was always was my routine.
So people can't use it as an excuse for not competing as well.
Yeah,
People will be like,
no,
"Oh, I teach a lot." You know,
no,
they
no.
should just use you as an example, right?
Man, I used to teach a lot. On these days, I teach like 3 times a day. But before I used to teach like, man, 7, 8, with like group class, private class, I used to teach a lot. Now I teach less, but before I
Mhm.
used to teach a lot.
Yeah. So man, we actually have this Instagram cuts us off after an hour, so we have like a minute and a half. Man, how bad are your hands? Do you have to use finger tape at all? Do you use
I
tape on
use
your hands much?
I use when I start the camps, I start using.
Yeah. How are your hands? Can you show me? These are
Uh,
mine here. Those are pretty messed up hands. Yeah.
yeah, so now it's not much for like 2 months that I don't train, like
Oh man, our hands are getting weak now. They're
yeah,
getting
yeah.
they're getting soft.
Yeah, today
Um.
today I work on my grips at the garage, but man.
Oh man, I should try to do something the same. That'd be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you ever want, like, I started a finger tape company, Grip Tape, as we're doing it on here. If you ever want, I'd love to be able to, work with you and provide for your gym.
Yeah.
If you don't already, or if you're already doing something,
I
that's
don't have
fine. But
I don't have any. I think it would be nice for you guys to send us that we can start selling over here too. That would be awesome.
well, you know what? We can send some your way, and you can try it out and see if you like it.
Okay, would be nice.
Whenever we can start training again.
Okay,
But
sounds
man,
good.
thank you for doing this. I really appreciate
Of
it.
course, John. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it, buddy.
Hey, have a good night.
You too, man.
Take it
Oh,
easy,
thank
guys.
you.